what is the Wizards' most pressing off-season concern?
How about keeping Wall healthy in the playoffs next year? That would help a lot.
That would help.
I mean, a lot of people think they would have won the series against
Bradley
the Hawks.
Beal certainly thinks they should have won.
Exactly.
4-1.
You know, just keep them healthy and they're good to go. You know, I think a lot of their lineup is pretty well set. Their starting lineup is pretty well set for next year. And just the question is power forward. And everyone seems to feel like, can they land a stretch four in the offseason? Can they land a big man who can shoot, who can take his defensive counterpart outside and open up the driving lanes for Wall and Otto Porter stepping up? So I think that's their big priority. If Pierce comes back, I don't think they're going to want to play him at power forward all season. Much like
they did in the regular season this year.
Yeah. I mean, who knows? Whitman was being pretty coy about that.
A little cagey.
Yeah. So, you know, they need to find somebody. I think it would actually help a lot if Chris Humphries actually could develop a three-point shot. You know, he's a decent mid-range shooter.
Yeah.
He's a good rebounder. I mean, that's a guy that's already on their roster, and if he could somehow like get a three-point shot in his arsenal, they could be pretty well set even at that position.
Chelsea, what are you looking at as the off-season priorities for the Wizards?
I completely agree. I think you need a guy who can, you know, go outside and shoot. I mean, I don't know if Chris Humphries is going to develop that kind of shot. I think you might have better options out there. I mean, I just worry that, I don't know how much this plays into their thinking, but certainly fans-wise, I hope that there isn't this kind of push for Kevin Durant, like, hold off, let's be cautious, and then try to, like, build, because they're really only a couple pieces away, if that. I mean, like you said, if John Wall stays healthy, they're maybe no pieces away from at least the conference finals. So I think that stretch forward really helps them. You saw the Hawks, it was something they had, you know, that the Wizards didn't, and it was a difference maker in a couple of those games when it came down to, you know, 2 baskets at the end. So I think that is the position where they kind of need to add and get some more versatility and some more athletic players in that power forward slot than they currently have. But other than that, you have to think they're pretty well constructed, I would think.
Yeah, Neil, is this a case of just a few tweaks for this team?
No, because they may change the entire way.
Well, there you have it.
All right.
Well, they may change the way they're going to play, right? I mean, we saw a different team in the playoffs. We saw a team that was much more reliant on the three-point shot. So what is this team going to look like next season? And I don't think that they have the pieces here to do that. I mean, Nene certainly showed that he's probably not the core player going forward. You know, Gortat could be, but his game may need to be refined a little bit.
He also needs Wall to be healthy.
Right.
He's a much better player
without
than that
a doubt. But then you look at, you know, Chelsea mentioned Kevin Durant. You know, that's 2 years away. So whatever you do next year is going to impact the salary cap for the Durant year. So you can't necessarily go out and get a guy like Kevin Love, who would probably be the perfect fit for that stretch four. You can't commit that much.
That's why they need to find somebody on their roster now, I think, because they don't want to spend a lot of money.
But who would that be? I mean, I don't think there's anybody necessarily on the roster
that can
step up to that level.
You're not going to give him huge minutes, right?
I mean,
you're not going to give Gooden huge minutes. I think Humphries is your best chance. I agree, it's a bit of a long shot. I'm just saying that's their big project.
But this team is past the possibly could fill. I mean, if they're going to change that identity, there are already good teams that are playing that Morey ball style, right? Drive to the basket, three-point shot. And they're all the championship caliber teams. You look at who's left in the playoffs right now, they're all great at taking the three-point shot, and they take a lot of them. So if you want to get to that level, you can't just say, well, maybe we have a guy and we'll try it. You need to commit, and you need to get a specific piece to the puzzle and then build that going forward and try to make it happen.
How much of a better shooter do you think John Wall has to be to help this team get to the next round?
I mean, we see now in the NBA that three-point shooting is huge. Spacing out defenses is huge. Having a point guard who can't shoot very well really does give defenses many better options as far as shutting down a team's offense. I mean, I think Wall's driving ability covers up some of that. His speed covers up some of that. I don't think he has to turn into an elite shooter. He certainly doesn't have to turn into Steph Curry. And I do think the Wizards, one thing they can do in the offseason is possibly shop Nene's contract around. He's going into the last year of an expensive deal. There are going to be teams that want to load up for 2016 that might want somebody in the last year of his deal.